Hello, welcome to BioGrades TV. If you're new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss our next video. Biography of Samora Moisés Machel. Africa has seen quite a number of notable political figures whose contributions and influence spread beyond their countries of origin to other parts of the continent. Samora Moisés Machel is one of such. Born on the 29th of September 1933, Machel was a Mozambican military commander, politician, and revolutionary. He was the first president of Mozambique. Samora Machel was born into a family of farmers in the village of Madragua in the Gaza province of Mozambique. Under Portuguese rule, his father, like most black Mozambicans, was classified as an indigena, a demeaning term for native. He was forced to accept lower prices for his farm produce than white farmers, compelled to grow cotton, which is very labor-intensive, and took time away from the food crops needed to feed his family, and forbidden to brand his mark on his cattle to prevent them from being stolen. But in spite of all these, Machel's father was a successful farmer, owning 4 plows and 400 head of cattle by 1940. It was in this farming village Machel grew up in and attended Mission Elementary School. In 1942, he was sent to the town of Zongwen to school there. The school, which was run by Catholic missionaries, had the children educated in Portuguese language and culture. Though Machel completed up to the 4th grade of his secondary education, he had the necessary certificates to train as a nurse anywhere in Portugal. In 1954, Machel began his nursing studies in the capital city of Lourenço Marques, now called Maputo. Again, he was unable to complete his formal training at the Miguel Bombarda Hospital in Lourenço Marques, so he got a job working as an aide in the same hospital and earned enough to continue his education at night school. He worked for a while at the hospital and then left the country to join the Mozambican nationalist struggle in neighboring Tanzania. Machel started his political activities in the Miguel Bombarda Hospital in Lourenço Marques, where he protested against the fact that black nurses received less pay than whites doing the same job. When he was told by a sympathetic white that he was being watched by the Portuguese political police, the PIDE, he decided to escape. He slipped across the border and made his way to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, where he joined the Mozambique Liberation Front, Frelimo. In Dar es Salaam, Machel volunteered for military service and was drafted to go to Algeria for guerrilla training. When he returned from the training, he was put in charge of Frelimo's own training camp at Kongwa. He rapidly rose through the ranks of the guerrilla army and became the head of the army in 1966 after the death of its first commander, Felipe Samuel Maguire. When Frelimo's founder and first president, Eduardo Mondlane, was assassinated by a parcel bomb on the 3rd of February 1969, Machel was elected in 1970 to take over. When the Portuguese government was overthrown by the Armed Forces Movement (MFA) back in Lisbon in 1974, the new MFA government began talks asking Frelimo for a ceasefire. But Frelimo refused as long as there was no commitment for a Mozambican independence. More serious talks between the Lisbon government and Frelimo began when the Machel-led Frelimo continued its armed aggression against the colonial government. The talks led to an agreement signed in Lusaka on the 7th of September 1974, which agreed to transfer full power to Frelimo with the date for independence set for the 25th of June 1975. When independence came for Mozambique, Machel proclaimed the total independence of Mozambique and its constitution into the People's Republic of Mozambique and became the country's first president. Machel's government immediately made new policies by which key areas were brought under state control. All land was nationalized. Individuals and institutions lost rights to own land, but they could lease it from the state. Also, on the 24th of July, 1975, just a month after independence, all health and education institutions were nationalized as well. This meant an end to private schools and clinics. Housing too was reformed. No private individual or organization could build houses for rent. They could only own houses for personal use. Hence, many black Mozambicans moved from the suburbs into houses in the center of the cities, which were once owned by Portuguese landlords, as many of those apartments had now been abandoned. In 1977, Machel was re-elected as president of Frelimo, which automatically meant he remained president of the republic. Machel gave his full support to revolutionaries who were fighting white minority regimes in countries like Rhodesia, that is Zimbabwe, and South Africa, and allowed them to operate within Mozambique. On the 19th of October 1986, Machel attended a summit in Mbala, Zambia. After the summit, the Zambian authorities invited Machel to spend the night in Mbala, but he insisted on returning to Maputo. His security ministry also asked him not to travel at night, but he insisted on leaving that night. His plane never made it to Maputo. It crashed into a hillside at Mbuzini in South Africa. While there were 9 survivors, Machel and 33 others died. He married Josina Abiatar Muthemba in May 1969. They had a son in November called Samora, also known as Samito. But Josina died just 2 years later, on the 7th of April 1971, at only 25 years. She is believed to have been suffering from either leukemia or pancreatic cancer. Her death greatly devastated Machel. Machel and his second wife, Graça Simbine, got married 3 months after Mozambique's independence. Graça was Minister for Education and Culture in the newly independent Mozambique. They had 2 children between them. Machel also had other children from other women, but he was never married to them. However, that was in his earlier years while working as a nurse. In 1998, 12 years after Machel's death, Graça Machel got married to Nelson Mandela, President of South Africa. This made her the only woman to have been First Lady of 2 countries. A memorial was inaugurated on the 19th of January 1999 at the Mbuzini crash site by Nelson Mandela and his wife Graça, and by President Joaquim Chissano of Mozambique. The monument was designed by Mozambican architect José Forjas and comprises 35 steel tubes symbolizing the number of lives lost in the ill-fated air crash. There is a large street in Dar es Salaam called Samora Avenue. Also, one of the largest streets in Harare, the capital of Zimbabwe, was renamed Samora Machel Avenue after Zimbabwe's independence in a gesture of gratitude for the support Machel rendered in their struggles. What have we missed out of this biography of Samora? Let's know in the comment section. Will it be ridiculous to subscribe to our channel? If no, please like this video, share and subscribe to our channel.